Hey everybody, it's Robbie from Missouri Worm Supply. We know that not everybody has the exact same worm set up at home. Some people have a tower, some people run buckets, some people run wedge systems. With this new series, we're going to be trying to cover as many of these different systems and keeping an update. So follow along. This one right here will be the very beginning in the worm tower system. Hey everybody, it's Robbie from Missouri Worm Supply. As promised, we're going to start setting up several bins like this, or just a regular tote like the black tote here, the bucket system, wedge system. We're going to try to cover as many different setups as we can. That way, no matter what kind of setup you have at your house, we can cover it, so it'll help you out. Because I know not everybody has bins like this. Not everybody has Baxters. Not everybody has totes. Everybody has a little something different. So we're going to start with this guy. We're going to start with bedding. First, I want to touch on doing a trial. I don't care if you're buying peat, if you're buying cocoa core, if you're using your own compost. I highly, highly, highly recommend you try your whatever you're adding into your bins to make sure that you're not adding something bad. About a month and a half ago, we had got a hold of some peat. We use the Majestic Earth, Stagnant Peat Moss. We use that, that's how we ship our worms. Well, we weren't able to get it from Lowe's, and they were sold out. So we had picked up some from Ace Hardware. Not dogging Ace, I'm just saying that the peat moss we got there, we shipped all our worms and everybody's worms died. We were trying to figure out what's going on. By the time the next week rolled around, we had picked up more peat moss from Lowe's and we shipped it out. Everybody's worms arrived safe. We said, well, the only common denominator was the peat. So I had taken some peat and I run a test. A lot of you have little cheap totes like this for ice cream or what have you. What I did is I put some peat in here, got it moist, and I counted out 20 or 25 worms, put them in there with a little bit of food, covered it up, got my air holes. I was going to give it a week. I come back 2 days later, every worm in there was dead. There was something in that peat that was not good. So no matter what bedding material you're using, please run a test on it first. This will keep you may lose 25 worms, but not 10 pounds of worms. Okay, and I'll touch some more on this over here. This is a little one we got off Temu. Same setup as any other tower system. A lot of people don't know though that you have two different setups. I'll show you. You can set this in here and it sits up tall, or you can turn it and it sits in short. But to begin with, we will only be needing one tray. We'll set these over here. Because when you start this tower system, you start with the bottom. You don't need all the extra sizes on there. You want to start with just one. And these are all pretty much simple. You put your drain in there. I recommend leaving this open all the time. Put you a catch under there of some sort, little cup or something. Again, what comes out of here is not worm tea. I repeat, it is not worm tea. You can put that on your grass or your oak trees or something. Don't put it on your food. Leachate is anaerobic. There are bad microbes in there, bad bacteria. Some people say, oh yeah, we can do that, we can do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Make your own tea. Do it right the first time. So anyway, we open that. Put your first bin in. Correctly. Alright, so this thing's ready for bedding. It's not ready for bedding and worms, but it's ready for bedding. Some of you either have your own compost or your own peat or your own junk bale. What we're going to start out first with is some compost. Grab some over here. This is some compost that we make on site. You can do this a couple different ways. If you've got, let me see, do I have that in here? Yes, I'm going to grab a couple things for you. Just bear with me. I wasn't 100% ready. Okay, now I'm back. All right. If any of you are interested in one of these, you can go over to Newcastle Soils. Bobby bakes these. Or if you're handy with wood and whatever, you can go to Captain Matt Worm People and he gives you plans on how to make these also. I'm using a 1/4 inch screen. Let's start with this one. This is the compost we have on site. Our own compost here. Shift that down. The reason we're doing this, rocks. There's some rocks in there, there's some big sticks, you can leave that in there. But we're getting rid of the big rocks, we're getting rid of the big chunky stuff. The reason we're getting rid of the chunky stuff, we want the smallest material in there for the worms. The red wigglers and the euros, that's what worms you have. They don't have the muscles as other worms that regular normal earthworms that can dig deep into the soil. Okay. Got that one ready. Now we're going to switch over here. Some of you have the worm gear, my turbo sift. This nice sleek thing. It's so smooth. And I'm using the what is it, a 3/16 screen on this one. This is going to be doing the same thing as our homemade job. Gonna get the same result. So you almost need a second table. Run all this through here. Again, this is getting the same thing done. I think I'll put a little bit too much in there. Now, when you're done, you have chunky pieces. You can grind these up in your hands, squish them down. That'll go on through. This also gives you a chance, like I said, you can pick out rocks. Sometimes you get miscellaneous pieces of plastic or trash in there, acorn top. But anyway, now you've got your composted material down here. We'll set these over to the side. You've got a good start. If you want, you can use just this, just the compost, and you're good. But if you're doing this to keep all the extra stuff out of the landfills and stuff, you're going to want to add more stuff. And all that stuff you want to keep out of landfills, that's what you're going to want to put in here. We're going to go over a couple of those. As you can see, good, light, fluffy compost. This stuff's ready to go in your garden. It's ready to be fed to your worms as is. But you may not have compost. If you want to get a good start, I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not promoted, I'm not sponsored by Black Cow, but you can go to Lowe's and get a bag of Black Cow compost. It is some great stuff for worms. We have a lot of people that maybe they started with a bad peat or a bad bed or bad cocoa core and their worms aren't doing good. I tell them to go get the Black Cow, they get it, now their worms are doing good, then they can slowly add their stuff in. Alright, there's a couple other things we can add in, or get ready. We just run all this through our shredder inside the house. It's just shredded cardboard. Now, I like using a micro shredder because there's more pieces, more tiny cuts, I guess you will. There's more surface area for the microbes to start working on. That's another one you can use. All your junk. We have a lot of cardboard here. Somebody here at our house is addicted to Amazon. It's me. I'm addicted to Amazon. Here's another one you can get. This is one of my favorite ones with the cardboard. You get a lot of people that say, only use the brown cardboard. The white cardboard, like priority shipping bags in the mail that have the white on one side, don't use it, it's been bleached. In the same video, you see them using shredded paper, shredded junk mail. White, yellow, pink, blue paper. It's compostable, people. Put it in there, let the worms do the trick. Don't use the shiny one that has plastics in there. We're trying to keep those microplastics out of our systems. All right, so we have a compost, we have brown cardboard, we have shredded junk mail. All right, go to the next one. Peat. This is finely sifted peat that we run through our trommel. This is what we ship our worms in, but peat moss, and if you're not, it's not sustainable, there's a never-ending supply if you think about it. We got peat, another bedding. Here's the one bedding that I don't like, we don't use. Coco Coria. This one actually comes from a grocery store, and it's supposed to be organic and all this stuff. And you read down here, not for use in organic crops. The key with Coco Core, if you're doing seed starting, this does great for your seed starting. It's fine. The reason we don't like using the Coco Core is it'll say, you make up a batch, you put it in there, and all your worms disappear, they die, they escape. Coco Core has to be rinsed. If it's not been rinsed, it has salt in there. The worms don't like salt. This stuff comes from India, so we know they probably did a really good job of washing it over there, right? I don't like using Coco Core. You do what you want to do. I don't want to take the chance. Okay, so now, again, with the sifting, you have a couple alternatives. Any of you rednecks out there, you know what kind of sifter this is? This is 1/4 inch screen. Any guys that do any kind of trapping, you set your trap, and you're putting the material back over the top nice and soft. But you guys can make a little tiny hand screen, just like this, at home. This is really simple. It does the same thing as you can see as the big ones do. It doesn't have to be monstrous. The other one, some of you may know what this is. You go in your house when your wife or your husband's not looking, and this is what do you call it, like a bacon fryer, put in your oven or whatever. This is the same screen. If you've got one, it's a one and done. Now you can go to a thrift store, Goodwill, stuff like that. You can usually find stuff like this. They have the little trash cans. If you have a pre-made sifter, no sense in spending money. Okay, so there's our bedding. Let me get an empty container. There it is. Get an empty container ready. I'm going to put you on pause real quick. Let me clean up this table. Okay. All right, so along with the compost, a lot of people ask me if you can use chicken poo to put in there. If you've got, like we have chickens right outside the door over here. We have all their chicken poop. We'll get rid of it into our compost. Never use straight chicken poop. It's hot. It'll heat up really, really high. Heat in there and it'll fry everything in your bed. You'll kill all your worms. Pre-compost it first. Take it and throw it on your compost pile. It'll help boost it up, kick it up in there. Any kind of ungulate, cow, horse, alpaca, lamb, goat, rabbit, anything like that, feel free to start using any kind of manures like that. Any kind of a grass-fed animal, great manures. Just stay away from the chicken or bird manure at first and let it go through its heat. All right, so this is gonna be a basic bedding. You don't have to use all of this. You can just use all compost. You can use all paper, all cardboard. I do not recommend that. It's kind of like if you had to eat beans and rice every day, you can live off beans and rice. But we all want that steak, right? Unless you're vegan, I guess you want cauliflower. I don't know, you want something different. So we're gonna set up this bin. Remember, all we're doing is filling up this little guy. So we're gonna start it with, one good scoop of compost. We're gonna put some shredded paper in here. Just a little bit of shredded paper. Here, all this stuff, this paper was trees at one time. It was all alive. Anything that was once alive, you can pretty much put in there. Put a little cardboard in there. There's a lot of people that use almost 100% cardboard bedding and food. I don't like that. You get your wood, you get your soybean from your glue, but you know the worms need more. They want more. I'm gonna put a little peat in here too. You can put, you don't have to put all these. You can use just straight compost. All of our beds back here, whether it be 30 of them, they are 99.9% compost. We do feed a grain-based diet that we make here, the worm chow. But you can take leaf mold. You can learn how to make leaf mold. You can just get shredded leaves, add that in there. So this is our bedding here. Now what we're going to do at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of our worm chow. The reason we're doing this is we want to get those microbes and everything going. Add that in there. It's going to feed the fungi that's in there too. And this is just a basic worm bedding. Water hose. Wet this down. Now one thing to remember, a lot of people are going to tell you the wrung out sponge thing. That all depends on the bed that you're using. If you're using it in a tub like this, the wrung out bed sponge thing will probably work for you. If you're running bigger beds like this, we run a whole lot more modern than a lot of people do. We've seen a lot of people that have switched. They did with the factory normal or the standard normal and said, okay, we're going to do the factory or the standard, we're going to do the wrung out sponge. And then they finally experimented and realized they add more water into their beds. The worms are fatter, healthier, they look better. That's not correct English. They look prettier. You can just tell they're better worms because they're breathing through their skin. Now, this bed looks good and feels good, except for I know that this cardboard has not absorbed all that water. So we're going to make it a little more wet. My English is not correct today, so you just have to bear with me. We're going to make this really, really wet because the core that's in here, and people have actually messed with cocoa core or cardboard, it takes quite a bit of time or a little time for it to absorb. So what we're going to do is we got this bedding ready. Now this is pretty much a neutral bedding, if you will. It has some life into it from the compost, that's true, but it doesn't have all the microbes and stuff that we want in there. Now I'm going to start this out. Second, let me get cleaned up here real quick. Alright, now this is only about half full. I did underestimate that. I'm going to fill this back up. I'm going to make another batch. I'm going to make another batch so I can fill this all the way up. I didn't make enough there, so I won't have to watch that again. We'll just make a new batch. Or, you know, you're right there. Just hang out with me. We'll do it again. There are screw-ups. I screwed up, didn't make enough. We'll make a new batch. I'm just too lazy to walk over there and push pause. Alright, let's put some good cardboard in there. Some more peat in there. There's going to be plenty of food I won't have to add. Oh, I'll tell you, let's add a little more food. How about that? Just a little pinch, just a little pinch. It's getting wet. The key with the worms is there's no 100%, this is the way you got to do it. This is the only way to do it. Experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment. I mean, we've learned different things. I'll show you one right back here. These white bins. Anybody, I'm trying to that again. With the white bins, we've learned the worms don't try to escape as much as they do dark colored bins. Blues will try to escape if you get Indian blues. I love Indian blues. I think they're one of the best composters out there. They breed faster. They do more work. But they are temperamental. God, they're temperamental. Your perimeters aren't right, they won't stick around. They're going to get up and go. All right, that'll be good right there. Clean this up. Give me a second. So with the blues, if your pH is not right, the temperature is not right, the barometric pressure changes, whatever it is, they're going to try to get up and leave. They're going to find something different. We did have blues in our basement and garage, and we had them in big CFT bins. In the CFTs, they could move around different areas because the bin was so big and make themselves happy, and we never had any loss. But the call for pure reds, because so many people want to do this at home, and maybe their parameters aren't as good, and having the red wigglers, they're a lot more forgiving worm. So we switched over to pure reds 2 years ago. Got rid of all the blues. Okay, so this is ready, but it's not ready yet. What you need to do, hopefully you don't have worms right now ready to go in that bin. Stop the presses. It appears I forgot a vital roll, or not so much a vital roll, a part to this. So what I forgot to do was take newspaper, paper, or cardboard and put it into the bottom before the material. What this does, it allows that material, or stops that material from just falling through. Now, easily fits. This stuff's been sitting for a couple days. We're just gonna transfer all this good material. And now it's been a couple days. This material's nice and moist. It's got all the cardboard, the peat, everything is super wet in here, or wet where it needs to be. And we're just gonna put all this in here. That's some good looking stuff right there anyway. But anyway, that's the one step that I missed. And in here in just a minute, we will be putting the worms in here to finish out this setup. I think that's all I'm gonna put in there for right now. And then I'm gonna put my worms in, and we may put a little more material on top of that. There we go. Everybody makes mistakes. You want to let that sit for a couple of days, especially with all that grain in there. Now the fungi, mycelium, all the little tiny creatures and living life in there can start working. They start doing their job, so you don't have a dead bed, if you will. Now we're going to give this one a couple days, and then we'll come back and we'll add worms to it. But that bed is ready to go. It's ready for worms as soon as it gets to sitting. And we'll do the whole process. There they are. Well, we're stacking more bins on there and harvest. This will be part of the series. Okay, a lot of you don't have one of these. I got this little cheap thing. It's 5-tier. We got it off Temu for like 20 bucks. I bought it just for instructive videos for you guys. And it's actually, for what it is, for 20 bucks, you can't go wrong. It's not the big, thick, heavy-duty ones, but it works. Okay, some of you guys, here we go. Maybe all you have at home is a tote. Something like this. Dan at Fat and Happy, if you're watching the video, does it look familiar? So this is just a simple Rubbermaid tote. It's got holes drilled in the top. Drilled? There's holes drilled in the top. We can do the same thing, make the same bedding, and put it in here. Put it in there about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. You put that in here. You're going to want to make the same bedding you made before. This is not the same bedding. This is just for instructive. Nope, we're going to make it. I'm going to pause it. No, we're not. I changed my mind. We're not going to do that. We're going to make a whole new video over each bin. So let's take this way. Okay. All right, so we got this guy set up, and it's ready for worms in a couple days. We're going to put it over on the shelf. We're going to let it sit, and she'll be ready. Now, if you have a Rubbermaid tote like this, you can get air, you can get oxygen. You'll make up your bedding, you put it in here the same way, and this one you'll be layering your system. Each time you come in and you need to feed or put bedding in, you can put a little food, a little more bedding, a little food, a little more bedding. This is really good for if you're doing house scraps, bananas, cantaloupe, lettuce you didn't eat, stuff like that. And once you get to the top, then it's time to harvest it. The key with these is fluffing these bins. You want to mix this up. There's no other way. You want to get in there and get oxygen to all parts of the bedding. Otherwise, it'll go anaerobic. The smell is just bad. If you don't have a tote like this, which you can keep something like this in your closet in your house without your spouse knowing. You can get a Rubbermaid, these aren't Rubbermaid, sorry, these are mortar trays. These come from Lowe's. These Rubbermaid, these come from Menards. A little bit different. They hold about the same amount of material. And we're going to be setting up over here a 50-gallon drum. I was going to use a different system, but we're going to do a 50-gallon drum, and we're going to be running a wedge system or a mini wedge system in that. We're going to start with this guy, and then I'll start setting up the other ones video by video and showing you how these are. We'll be checking in on those weekly over here on this wall. All right, guys, I will be back in a couple days when this is ready for me, and I'll put some worms in there and keep y'all in there with me. Hey guys, if you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. All right, guys, now we're back to the worm tower here. If you remember, we got the newspaper on the bottom. We've got our bedding here that's been fermenting, if you will, for about 3 or 4 days now. And now we are going to add, this is about a half pound of red wigglers. We had these from leftover orders. I'm just going to mix those in there, let them do their own little thing. And I'm going to top this off. Just a little bit of bedding. I said, if you remember, we pre-added, if I don't know what the right word is there, some chow in there. And you always want to just mist your worms. You really don't want to hit them. If you do it the full spray, let's see, full shower, see, you don't want that on your worms. Just a mist. Yeah, I don't have. Get that bed good and wet. Now, if you're buying worms and you get your worms in and they've been shipped in peat, I recommend just putting those on top, misting those, hand mixing that in, because a lot of that water is going to go into the bedding and get absorbed into that peat when you really want that into your worms. All right, that ought to be good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave this top off for at least 24 hours. Your worms need to get acclimated to that bedding. In here, I'm going to move these over here on this other wall for right now. We have a really, really bright light, and we're going to let that sit. Remember, always leave this open. Put you in a little tub or something to catch that and throw that stuff out. Throw it on your garden, your flowers, or your trees, or your grass. Don't put it on your vegetables. All right, so that is this guy, and I said this is what it'll look like. As we add more bedding and more food onto here, it'll keep growing. They're going to compost through that, and they're going to eat through that and give you some good castings. And then we can start adding more bedding and go through in layers. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and spin you around. Let's take a look at this urban worm bag and get you over here. In fact, let's get you in really, really close. All right. You guys bear with me here just a second. Let's open this up. All right. Got a little bubble wrap on there. I don't know if you can see the top of this bedding. It's a little dry, but I mean, they've almost worked this through. It's just about time for another feeding of compost. Again, with these urban worm bags. Now, this is our worm chow we make in-house. A lot of you already know that. A lot of you buy this from us. It's got 10 different ingredients or 10 different grains in there. It has your azomite for all your minerals. It's got a grit already in there. I'm going to go ahead and mix this down. Again, one of the things that we've learned with this bag is this bag lets water evaporate quicker than what we're used to. So we're going to add some good amount of water in there. Again, that water can drip through the bottom if, so we're not over watering. Just a little piece of silver bubble wrap, try to help keep that in there. Next time we shoot the video, we will be adding bedding to this one and going from there. We will be setting up a couple other systems. We'll be doing, a lot of people are asking about totes. So if you're running Rubbermaid totes, you can get these bus bins and do the same stackable system as a tote. These come from Sam's. They're like, get about two. I think they're $16. But that is that setup, and we'll check in next time we need water and food.